All right, so at this point, let me check the agenda. So I'm going to now start sharing, and I'm going to share some of my experiences of moving from a regional root server to a zonal root server, some of the challenges that we ran into with that, how we found solutions, and how I manage day to day the area admins for the Carolina region off of the zonal forum, Southeastern Zonal Forum server. So what happened was is that we under the same kind of consolidation like Gail was just asking about, it was okay. We're going to move. They set up a zonal forum root server, and so there was the North Carolina regional root server, the Carolina region, and a number of others. And we're going to consume all of that, move all of that meeting data into the server. And the thing is, though, is how do you do that with overlaps? Because we all know that there's so many similar area names in different regions, right? Just like there are different same home group names in areas all over the place. How do you distinct that when you go to log in? Because when you log in, the way we had it set up was we had it so you would have your initials for your area, which would be like CCA NA _ ASC. Then that way, when we were setting up the accounts for the root server, that admin would be able to log in. They see only their area meetings. And so when we were going to move into the zonal forum server, the question was, well, what if there are overlaps? What if there are two areas with the exact same name? And then what if one's in Alabama and what if one's in North Carolina? So how do you deal with that? So we came up with a really neat way of dealing with that. And I worked with our admin. And so the login was, so the original was just a login of the area acronym _ ASC. And then what we just did is we appended the acronym for the new region, or for our region, to that. So there would be a distinction between the two different regions. Now, one of the things that was also a challenge was when you have 25 area admins, how do you disseminate the information? And what I did is I came up with a 3-step communication plan, setting up emails. So the first one was just a communication here, what we're going to be doing, how will it affect, and especially for those who were area admins, how were they going to change their settings for their different plugins? Because it was no longer going to be the crna.org / main server or BMLT main server. It was going to change. Excuse me. So what I did is I set it up, and I had to go through and find all the area admins email addresses so that I could communicate with them. That's one of the things in service that sometimes at a regional level, especially with area admins for area websites, you don't always, because there's rotation of service. There's people moving in and moving out. And sometimes as a regional or a zonal forum admin, you're not told when that's going to happen. So with that, I put together when it's going to happen, what are the switches are going to be thrown, where are you going to be putting in your different information, and then I crafted the emails and included screenshots so that it could be a walkthrough. And one of the things that I can share with you is when that happened, we didn't have one area admin email or call and say, I can't get in. They had all the information necessary in advance, knew it was coming, and when the switch happened, it was very seamless. We didn't see any hiccups on the site. Everything pulled over at the same time, and it was really neat process. So, but one of the things that's key to that, and I heard it in the earlier session, is communication. right? So communicating with and knowing who your area web servants and BMLT admins are, especially when COVID hit. It was, by the way, I started getting emails. How are we going to not show meetings that aren't happening? Where I've got them up on the website, and it gives you a link to a Google map, and there's going to be nobody there, right? That was a challenge that we all faced. So what we did is started communicating out to just unpublished for now. And then the BMLT community wrote the different pieces so that you could display virtual meeting, or with the links to the Zoom, so that people could actually get to those meetings. But that was the first key. It's the first key in all of this, between a switch and managing area admins, has all been about for communication and keeping that list. And we use for the Carolina region, we use Slack for service. And we have a web team technology channel. And I just put everything out there, and we put as much information. Sometimes it might be information overload, but in the end, what it does is everybody knows what's happening. And when we have our regional subcommittee meetings, we do a portion of, we talk about if there are any changes coming with any of the plugins, the client apps for BMLT, and we do a demo as well. I'm fortunate to have a really great vice chair who's also the alternate RD and is also a contributor in the BMLT community. So between that, the big thing is just evangelizing and sharing how the changes are going to affect and potentially affect an area, and what are some of the things that it could address in a better way, the solutions to possible problems, and we take it that way. So one of the other things that has been a big, it was a big sore spot in the beginning in this role for me, was how do I manage passwords? So there are a couple of areas in our region where the BMLT admins have changed every 2 months, and trying to figure out how am I going to manage the passwords. So what I came up with was a spreadsheet, and it has the area name, the username, the password, and the admin's name. And then when they are onboarded, I use password generator. I copy that, I put it into the file. That way I can track exactly how their, what their password is. And sometimes you get the email, I forgot my password. Some of you that are area admins, I would recommend using a Notepad or Microsoft Word to write down, to keep your username and your password for your BMLT. That's very helpful. So for me, the other thing is onboarding. So when a new area admin comes on, I have this how to edit the BMLT database, and we go through it, and I set up a Zoom call and I walk them through it so that they can actually, with their username and their password, and be able to go through and make any edits, and they have something to refer back to. Because there's nothing worse than, oh, I got it and I understand it, and then I have to do it 7 days later, and oh, I forgot how to do that, right? So we put this together, and we make sure that when they're an admin is onboarded, that they feel comfortable, and I feel comfortable that I've given them the most information possible. Now, all of that is a precursor of why switching from a regional server to a zonal server for BMLT. When that happened, that really worked really well. And then the other piece was, that was it. That was all that I have.